How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. Truly defend yourself. Don't just...
My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts.
This is Jonathan Gillum, and this is The Experts on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube. And tonight, we're going to talk, turn this music down a little bit, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. We're going to move fast, and I'm going to cover quite a few things, starting off with, I want to get your feelings on the NRA's stance on these bump stocks and what you think about it. I don't really know what my opinion is yet, but I was watching Twitter and all kinds of people are talking about the NRA is moving left. I don't know if that's true, but that's what some people think whenever you mess with anything with guns. So we're going to discuss that a little bit. I'd love to see what you all think about it. Instantly, when I wrote that on the beginning title of this show, the first two people that come up on Twitter, what do they say? The NRA's not going left. Don't mess with the NRA. All right, we're all right. Relax. we're going to talk about a few other things as well. Let's go ahead and get started. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. All right. Better. I'm laughing actually because... Listen, I love guns too. I mean, I've lived with guns my entire life and worked with them for my entire career. And the NRA has done amazing things. I'm looking over here at Twitter now to see if anybody is. Everybody calm down. Calm down. There's a question mark at the end of the title. It says, let me pull it up here. It says, Las Vegas attack, hashtag Las Vegas attack, NRA leaning left, question mark. I didn't say they were. Man alive. All right, so now we know how some of these people feel that the NRA is not leaning left. Here's the thing, though. So I'm looking at this report from FoxNews.com, and it says the National Rifle Association, in its first statement on the Las Vegas shooting and in a rare break from its traditional opposition to gun-related regulations, called Thursday for a federal review of so-called bump stocks and suggested new rules might be needed for the device apparently used by the shooter in Sunday's massacre. Now, two things are going to happen. Liberals are going to fall over, and sales of bump stocks are going to go out of the roof tonight. I can guarantee it. So it's interesting because as I was reading and I did my research yesterday, I did an interview for FoxNews.com or Fox News Radio, and as I was going through all the videos, learning as much as I could about these bump stocks, because I've never shot one. So I couldn't tell you how it feels. I can only see through the videos the reaction of the people that are using it for the first time versus an automatic weapon, and also the rate of fire that it produces, the sustained rapid rate of fire that it produces. And I kept thinking to myself, I mean, I know it's a crude way to do this, but you're in effect turning your semi-automatic long gun into an automatic rifle. I mean, look, it is what it is. And so, but a lot of people, I know why people in gun enthusiasts and people that are very protective of the Second Amendment, which I am, why they say things the way they do, but when they use the word simulated automatic rifle, well, it's not simulated if it can sustain that rapid rate of fire and do that over and over and over again. There's no simulation to that. It may be another way to achieve a means to an end, because you can't afford or can't buy or you don't want to apply for the license to get a fully automatic weapon. But it's not a simulation, as we saw in the attack in Las Vegas. So I guess what I'm asking here is, and I should do this on Twitter right now. I don't know how to do it on Facebook yet, but I'm going to put up a poll, and I do it at the end of the show, and I want to know what you all think. Should these bump stops be regulated? Because I mean, I know that there's probably tens of thousands of these bump stocks that are out there, and they haven't been. I've never heard of a bump stock being used in a robbery or attack or any of this type of stuff up until this point. Because this one individual used this, does that mean that they should be eliminated? I don't know. I'll tell you why I don't think it's going to matter in the long run. I said this yesterday on the radio, that if somebody was trained to the level that I'm trained, and many of you other veterans that are out there, and they were up in that window with a semi-automatic rifle where you press the trigger once and one round goes out the tip of the barrel, and then you recycle the trigger and pull again, press again, excuse me, and another round goes out the end of that barrel. And if you would have had the right scope from that distance, you could have killed way more people than 59. The fact is, anytime you are throwing that many rounds downrange, your weapon is going to become somewhat, well, it's going to become very uncontrollable for people who don't know what they're doing. But even for a seasoned individual, you're not going to be able to hold that weapon on a target for an extended period of time. It's just the way it bounces around, you're not going to have accurate fire. So you could eliminate all these bump stocks, and somebody could still go up there and potentially, when you cram 30,000 people into a facility, an open air facility with no protection, with a single fire weapon and the ability to either be close enough where you can fire effectively or have a scope from that high up, you're going to be able to kill a lot of people. Now, heaven knows I hope that never happens. But the point I'm trying to make here is, when the NRA comes out and says something like this, I'm not really sure what they're trying to do when they take this stance. I don't know. That's the question I have. I mean, if they got rid of them, I don't think it's going to change a lot in this world. If they keep them, I don't think it's going to change a whole lot in this world. Again, had that individual that shot up Las Vegas, this country music concert, the other day, had a better scope and only had semi-automatic rifles, he could have killed just as many people. So I don't know. I don't know about it. I think this is just another thing for, and I'm all about safety. Trust me, I'm all about safety. But most people can't afford the ammo to go fully auto all the time. Secondly, it's not an accurate way to fire. You can't hunt that way. You're trying to defend yourself. I mean, I've literally seen a platoon of SEALs practicing full auto 25 yards away from their targets, and hardly anybody's hitting anything because it's that difficult. Now, an MP5 is a totally different story. That weapon, you can go full auto on that one and hold that in like a circle like this big. But still, from that distance, it's not going to be effective. But plus, well, I don't have to get into all that. But with an AR-15 or an AK-47 full auto, it's just difficult. It's very, very difficult to hold the weapon on target. So, with that being said, I'm going to put a poll up at the end of the show, and I want to get your opinion to see what you think about this. Is the NRA opening their I don't want to say their mouths, but I don't want to sound like I'm mad at the NRA. I'm not. But is this a wrong road for the NRA to go down? Because if the NRA says we need to take a look at this, we need to have oversight, they're not looking at the bigger picture, which is an individual with training could have killed more people with a semi-automatic weapon with the right scope. So if the NRA says, yes, this is something we should look at because, 59 people were killed, what are they going to say next time when somebody comes with a semi-automatic rifle with no bump stock or it's not fully auto, and they sit somewhere with a scope and they just start taking people out with more effective shots on target? What are you going to do then? That's the problem that I have with the NRA going down this road. Let me know what you think. I'll put the poll up at the end of the show, towards the end of the show. I don't know. I'm gonna hold my comments on it. I think the bump stock is just. I will tell you this. I think the bump stock is just a. It's something that somebody will use just as a recreational thing to show their girlfriend or go out to the range and shoot full auto and see what it's like. But you're wasting a lot of money when you do that. And from an attacker's point of view, it's not effective. We don't use it that much. The point man is going to be one of the only people in a platoon that's going to go full auto when they first see a target and they have contact, they'll go full auto. Or the 60 guns or the 249 Golf, whatever the belt fed weapons that you are, those weapons will go. They are fully auto. So you do have usefulness for those weapons, but overall, we don't even use it in the military. So somebody says 3 rounds burst are best. I can do 2-round bursts very fast, and actually stay on target, but I don't know. Anyway, I do want to show you this. Now, I don't have the ability to put this up on, and I hope it doesn't get pulled down. This comes from ABC in Chicago. I just got to show this. So this is from the news. So Facebook, don't pull this down. But this is ABC News in Chicago, and this is when they sent one of their reporters. I guess they're going through some training. They always say run, hide, or fight. In my book, Sheep No More, which let me put up the lower third for that. Whoops, let me make it a lower third. Stand by. There you go. I always do this to myself. Of course, it makes you look at it. So in my book, Sheep No More, I changed that terminology because I think that terminology, no, I don't think. I know it's wrong. It's not run, hide, or fight, because hiding could actually get you killed and has gotten people killed before. And running may not be the only thing you can do. You may have to crawl. I think a lot of those people that were caught in that open air environment, everybody's crammed up next to that stage and people are crouching down and laying on the ground, it would be difficult to run out of there. So you may have to crawl. You may be on the ground crawling. You may be low crawling. So I don't want to say run. It's escape. Evade, which evade means you are trying to find cover, which means you have a protective wall in front or something protective around you that's going to literally protect you from the rounds coming in. Drywall and all those people running into a tent, that is not cover. That is concealment. That's the other thing you're looking for. If you can conceal yourself, then maybe the shooter doesn't see you. But one thing, so let me finish this and I'm going to say something else. So it's escape, evade. Evade, you're finding cover and concealment, and you're moving when you can. You shouldn't stop moving unless you were just pinned down. That way you can get out of there. That's the safest way and the best way to stay alive is to just get out of there. So escape, evade, or fight. So let me show you this video. I'll show you this video here, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the cover and concealment again. Then we'll move on. So here you go. I'm not going to lie. That looks like the beginning of a naughty movie to me. I don't know. Listen, folks, if somebody is coming at, if you're going to make a move on somebody to go after an individual, I'm going to play that one more time so you can see it again. If you're going to make a move, I know I'm laughing about this, and, well, it is funny, but hold on. So, trust me, folks, an individual that is intent on killing you, playing patty cake with his head is not going to deter that individual from coming at you. And just sitting on their back is not going to stop them either, because they're probably going to buck you off and grab that gun. If you have to fight somebody, all right, and I do talk about this in my book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. If you're going to fight somebody, there's a thing that we use in special forces, the military to some extent, but any tactical unit, is a phrase called violence of action. And if you're going to fight, right, if you're going to escape, you need to run with everything you have to get out of there, or crawl like a madman or madwoman. Do whatever you got to do to get out of there if you're going to escape. If you're going to evade, you need to be as sneaky as possible. You need to be looking for places that are going to protect you or that you can hide and continue to move. But if you have to fight, you do not play patty cake with somebody's head. If you're going to fight and somebody, like a guy shooting, like in the schools, I keep hearing of these things where you got a shooter and they go to change their magazine and their weapon, and people just sit there. The church that was shot up down in South Carolina where the individual killed, it was either 6 or 9 people. One person, skinny little scrawny guy, one person with a gun, they argued with him while he was changing magazines. I don't care if you are the most overweight individual that can barely move, or if you're the skinniest little frail thing ever. I call it chimpanzee strength. There is a thing inside of you called violence of action. And if you're going to fight, you better fight with everything you have, because this isn't a bar fight where, most people know if they get in a fight in a bar, there's maybe a couple punches thrown, you're going to go to the ground, and everybody's going to stop it. This isn't that way. If somebody is intent on pulling a gun out and literally killing people, and you get an opportunity to jump on them before they reload their magazine or maybe they turn their back to you, you hit this individual with everything that you have, with the strength of God himself flowing through you. It's called violence of action, to the point where you take as much controlled chaos and you secrete it through your hands, your head, your legs, whatever you have to use, and you destroy that person. You should be attempting to kill them. I learned in Haganah, it's similar to Krav Maga. It's an Israeli martial arts that I loved when I had this instructor, and he said, our philosophy is to either break contact or kill. That's the only two. You're not going to sit there and fight. And in this case, if you can hit the person hard enough where you knock the gun out of their hands, or where you knock them for a loop and then you can run, great. You need to hit them as hard as you can. But your goal is to hit them so hard you break their neck. If you're going to fight them, you're not going to say, put up your dukes, come on. This isn't Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, right? If you can hit them in the back of the head, you do that. Whatever it takes to kill them or break contact. Playing patty cake on somebody's head is not going to do you any good. So I know the video was funny. I hope Facebook doesn't pull it down, because that was on there. It was ABC News. I'm saying that again, ABC News. And it's a funny video, but at the same time, these are very serious issues that we're talking about. Whether it be the bump stocks and whether or not we should limit those, we should look at the reality of what a mad person can do with anything that's provided to them. I can guarantee you, if somebody had a sharp butcher knife and was in that crowd as it was, and just went through nailing people with that thing, they probably could have killed 30, 40 people in that crowd before people realized what was going on. Maybe even more. But we can't outlaw butcher knives. We're having the wrong conversation. And when we look at things like that, we're looking at the wrong tactics, techniques, and procedures. That looks like a rape class is what that was. But even that, ladies, I'm telling you, the woman in Washington, which I actually emailed back and forth with her once, who got attacked in a bathroom when she was jogging in, I think it was in Washington State. And she said, not today, MFer. And she fought that guy off and then held him down. And she either locked him in the bathroom, I think, until cops got there. Your goal, if you're going to go for it, and you can't run or escape or crawl, and you can't evade, for some reason you're locked right there, and you have the opportunity to go after somebody, you need, forget about who you were 5 minutes ago. Forget about, the fact that, you can't bench press this much, or you've never worked out before, or, whatever. When you are in that position, and you need to think about this right now, not when it happens. If you are confronted with that dilemma in your future, and in space and time, you and the bad guy come face to face, or you're at their back, and you have an opportunity to strike, you strike with holy hell, and you kill that person. And if you don't kill them, they should be in a wheelchair for the rest of their life. snap their neck when you hit them so hard. Listen, I'm going to be graphic about this because this is reality. This isn't patty cake. You fight somebody who's got a gun, you better fight to win. You better fight to kill. That's the reality of the world that we live in. The world is going back to where it was 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago. The difference is people have better weapons. People have, we're not, the citizenry of this country and this world are not used to being around people who have let go of the conscience of and the understanding of the specialness of life. They've let go of that. So when you're dealing with people like that, like you might have thousands of years ago, you have to realize they have gone beyond the animal that does things instinctually. They have gone to a point where they are consciously killing. And you have to consciously make the decision that you are going to crush them. Now, why don't we go to the A block, and we're going to talk a little bit about Harvey Weinstein. And there's narcissists. It's like a disease now. I don't know if it's drug-related in Hollywood or what, but let's go to the A block, and we're going to talk about this. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. All right. Try not to cut off the end of that trailer, but I got to extend it a little bit where I can go into the next thing without make my face popping up here. So I'm looking at some of these stories. Let me see if I've got this one pulled up. And I've been looking at the news all day, and this pops up here. So, hold on a second, just recycled. This is on foxnews.com as well. See if you can see this. I know it's bright. Harvey Weinstein seeks tutoring after damning report accusing him of sexually harassing Ashley Judd. Okay. This is just odd. And I'll tell you what is really, there's a couple things that are odd. When you read into this, okay, this is somebody who believes that this is a Hollywood individual. So they live in a world that is not the same world that you and I live in. And, you know, if you don't know who Harvey Weinstein is, he is the movie magnate, as they say on Fox News here, behind such films as Pulp Fiction, Scream, Shakespeare in Love, and Good Will Hunting. And trying to think where it is here. So he's got the lawyer Lisa Bloom, who is the same one that was handling some of the women that were accusing President Trump of sexual harassment. She is now the one that is Harvey Weinstein's attorney. Isn't that interesting? So when it came to Trump, Lisa Bloom, whose mother is Gloria Allred, by the way, Lisa Bloom was handling the women who were making accusations against President Trump and talking about how bad President Trump was and how good these women are and this and that. Of course, none of that stuff was ever founded, and those cases were dropped, right? Well, in this case, she's handling Harvey Weinstein. She's not handling the women, and they're saying that they're going to have Harvey Weinstein go through tutoring, not counseling, tutoring on how to behave better, because this is what his excuse was. I came of age in the 60s and 70s. Means he's probably a communist. When all the rules about behavior and workplace were different, which means he was evidently he's calling himself a misogynist and a bigot, and he's saying that sexual harassment was okay back in those days. I know people that grew up in those days, and they were never sexually harassing women. It wasn't. it may not have been a law back then, but it was still uncouth for a guy to treat a woman terribly. So, according to this guy, though, he grew up in the 60s, 70s. It wasn't his fault. It's not his fault. Workplace was different. That was the culture then, he says. He has since learned it's not, this is a direct quote from him, it's not an excuse in the office or out of it. To anyone, I realized some time ago that I needed to be a better person, and my interaction with people I work with have changed. He vowed to channel his energies toward new endeavors. Now, here's where, let's say, okay, he grew up in the 60s and he had a problem with some stuff, and, he was in an environment where that stuff just happened. Okay, I'm not going to say that makes it okay, but okay. And now he's getting accused of it. And like all the people that I ever locked up in the bureau, they love to cry because they got caught. But that's the only reason why they're crying. They're not sorry. They got caught. And so here Harvey Weinstein is having the opportunity of a lifetime to turn his life around, which he says he's doing, right? He says where's it at here? He's going to channel his energies toward new endeavors. He says that he's going to get tutored on how he should be in the workplace. So in other words, he doesn't have the morals and ethics to figure it out himself. That when a movie star or somebody that is a young actress comes to his dressing room like Ashley Judd did, which she's half crazy now. Maybe it had something to do with that, but she's 3/4 crazy, I think. But she went to his room and he answers the door and he's like in a robe and that's it. And listen, that guy's powerful. And if they turn this guy down, they could be done with, just like Bill Cosby did to these women. A lot of these women got themselves into positions, should never have gone to that room. But once they go there and they're like, I don't know what they're thinking, to tell you the truth, when they go there. But they go there and then this guy comes out of the bathroom wearing nothing or a robe. And they say, get off of me. And they leave. Well, their career is done. It's done. So is that rape? I mean, it's not physical rape where you're physically shoving somebody down and having your way with them. But it comes very close when you use your position like that and you con somebody up into your room, whether they go up there willingly or not, and then you let it be known, if you walk out of this room, I'm going to ruin your career. And they have the power to do that. It'd be totally different if, somebody was some guy was screaming help from an apartment and you ran up there to help him, and then when you show up there, he's naked and he says, you better sleep with me or I'm going to ruin your career. Well, you don't know the guy. He's nobody. Whatever. Call the cops on him. But this guy, somebody comes up to his room and he says, and they say, I don't want any part of this. And he says, I'm going to ruin your career then. Or it's just implied. Is that rape? It's another good question for tonight. So this guy, trying to make it sound like he is going to do something good to turn it around, and he's apologetic, although he never really truly apologized. This is what he said he's going to channel his energies toward. Channel, first of all, when anybody talks about channeling their energies, they're either joking or they're some kind of fruitcake witch or worshiper of the dark arts, because that's what he's talking about, is channeling his energy. Weird stuff. So this is what he says, and this is where he completely blows any type of apology that he may have had. And if I'm these women that are reading this, I would go after him tooth and nail, and I'd go after this Lisa Bloom attorney who jumps from side to side. Look, at least her mom, Gloria Allred, stays on the side of these the women that have been victimized, or that say they've been victimized. In this case, she picks and chooses what side she wants to go on, even though the women that are saying that they were victimized by Harvey Weinstein seem to be credible. Crazy, but Ashley Judd, but credible. So here's what he says. I've decided I'm going to give the NRA my full attention. Really? So Harvey Weinstein is going to turn this into a joke? He's going to turn his attention from being a better person and apologizing and making it right for the women that he, in a roundabout way, I don't want to use the word rape, but It sounds like they had no choice in the matter sometimes, or they did. They had to work their way out of there very carefully. He's not going to put his energy towards making amends, making him realizing his morals. He's going to put his attention towards the NRA. And he hopes that Wayne LaPierre will enjoy his retirement party. He says he's also going to do the same, he says another joke about his bar mitzvah, weirdo. And he says, I'm making a movie about our president. Perhaps we can make it a joint retirement party. How about this, Mr. Weinstein? How about you go away? All right? How about you stop sexually harassing people and go away? Just like any other profession, when you get caught sexually harassing people, that's the end of your career, especially if you're in charge. That's it. There's no more second chances. It's sick. You're a sick person. And to come out and make jokes about it, and then to say that he's going to, after you've demeaned and or attacked women, you're going to make light of it and say that you're going to put your energy towards the NRA, Wayne LaPierre, and the president, and hopefully make them retire. That's supposed to be a joke? Listen, I have 3 sisters and a mom. I grew up in a single-parent home. I don't take jokes like that lightly at all. And if any of those women had been my sisters, this would have had a completely different outcome. And listen, trust me, I'm not Jimmy Kimmel, all right? When I say that somebody shouldn't, I'll give him one, I'm not Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not a comedian, all right? I'm a frogman. And you, Mr. Weinstein, should experience the wrath of a frogman if you touch a woman like that, or if you pressure a woman like that, or if you use your position to coerce and then crush somebody's spirit so you can sleep with them. This isn't a joke. The morality of Hollywood and the degradation of the morality of this country are precisely your fault. You're the one. You are the movie mogul in Hollywood. You're the one who puts out this type of vibe by making these movies. You're the one that decides, let's put more guns, more cigarettes, and more sex in movies. All right, because we want people to, because we're going to get paid off by the tobacco industry. So let's get everybody. You ever watch how they do that in movies? The way they go to a close cut and you can hear them smoking, and it's like, I'm surprised they're not pushing cigarette scent out into the studio to make smokers want to go smoke. That's Harvey Weinstein is deciding that stuff. All these wacko Hollywood weirdos that come out every time. I'm surprised they haven't done one now when there's a mass shooting and they come out and say, let's get rid of the guns. No more guns. We don't have more guns. Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
No more guns. Oh, Debbie Wasserman, can somebody find my computer?
That's Harvey Weinstein that's putting all those guns in movies. Yet he wants to go after the NRA. Give me a freaking break. This country has got a lot of issues. And the majority of the issues are not coming from the bottom up. They're coming from the top down. Where's all the women lashing out at Harvey Weinstein? Where's all the women that lashed out at Trump? Where are they? All these Hollywood people that lashed out at Trump and said he's disgusting and does all these things. Where are they? Why aren't they the ones that are? He paid Rose McGowan $100,000 as a settlement. Said it wasn't an admission of guilt. Where's Hollywood in all this? Where are these women? The feminists. See, that's why I give feminism, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, all the Black Panthers, on and on and on. You can go on all these groups, the gay movement, all these things. I know women. I grew up with women. I know gay people. I live in New York. I have a lot of gay friends. I know people that have dark skin and I have light skin. None of those people that I know that have made something of themselves did it because of they wanted to concentrate on dividing the country more, right? They said, I want to be this, and they set out and they did it. But feminism, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, all these other groups, you know what they are? They are communist, subversive groups that are trying to divide this country. And how can you tell? Black Lives Matter doesn't do anything in the black community to go out and stop the murders that are happening in the inner city. Feminism chooses not to say anything about Harvey Weinstein, yet they jump on the bandwagon with President Trump, who represents the conservative side, the side that probably would never be subverted in this country, although they're kind of letting it happen. But you see how this works? It's all fake. You're being sold a bill of goods that's not real. And you can tell it, there's evidence from an investigative standpoint, when they don't show up for this, when the same attorney that handles him and says, oh, everybody should bow to Harvey Weinstein, but yet will criticize and try to bring Trump down with accusations that are proved not real. You never heard of Trump paying somebody $100,000 without being able to prove, an admission of guilt. Crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Let's go to the B block. If you haven't shared this show yet, make sure you share it. And if you're on Twitter, and I'm looking over here because I'm watching Twitter here, make sure you're retweeting this right now. Let's get this populated. The numbers are down tonight. We have been having between 15,000 and 20,000 views a night. Boom! The show's exploding, as well it should. So make sure that you're populating this, sharing it with people. You saw the GoFundMe thing that just went across there. Don't forget about the GoFundMe page. That's how we fund this show. And don't forget about my book, which you're going to see a little commercial here in just a second about it. Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. I don't know if you can see it on the bottom there, but Sean Hannity wrote the foreword for it. Marcus Luttrell endorses it, along with other operators and experts in the field of targeting and analysis. And it is exactly what this country needs so they don't get themselves into positions like they were in Las Vegas. Let's go to the B block, and we're going to talk about the Puerto Rican mayor. I'll give you a guess of what I think she is. It starts with a C. It's called communism. No, it wasn't that other word. She's a communist. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. All right, so this is crazy. Let me find this here. Again, I hope Fox News didn't take this down. They're always moving stuff around. I do not, listen, if anybody from Fox is watching this, I don't like your new setup for your website. I don't. So here it is. Okay. So the mayor of San Juan and President Trump been going back and forth, right? I don't like to get into the politics of this. This is one area where I wish the president hadn't said anything. I wish she would just continue to push forward. She's nothing. She's not going to mean anything. I wouldn't give her any attention. This is one of those places where I disagree with the president. Not because I think she's right, but because she's beneath him. What does he have to worry about her, in her opinion? If she's not doing her job there, then he should be doubling down with military and Coast Guard and all these people moving this stuff in and around the place and just do it. Because the problem with Puerto Rico is it's very corrupt. The unions are corrupt. And so, and the other problem is it's borderline a third world country. And those people, how are they going to go and get their stuff at the ports? They're not. They have 4 walls and a roof. Some of them don't even have roofs now. So what do? They're going to wash. It's not like America, in the United States. I know everything about Puerto Rico and they're American citizens. But Puerto Rico is not like Houston. It's not like, the water came up to here. So you're going to see people tearing their drywall from here down and tearing all that out and doing demolding and getting rid of all this. It's not going to happen. These almost third world countries, you're going to see people getting the dirt out of their house and sweeping stuff out, and that's it. They're going to go on living because they don't have the ability to do that stuff. So I would rather see the president focus on just pushing more and more people down there to get it done. And I have sources on the ground there that are telling me this is a reality of what's going on. The mayor hasn't even shown up to any of the Joint Operation Command meetings that they've had, so I don't know how the heck she can know what's going on. But what I got to tell you, though, is this woman is a fruitcake, all right? And I'm pretty sure she's a communist, because when I see this, and I'm going to pull this over here, and I don't expect you all, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but she was on Latino TV of some kind, and she says, what is truly nasty is to turn your back on Puerto Rican people, Mayor of San Juan. So you remember the Ashley Judd rant where she was talking about how she's a nasty woman? So check this out. This freaking, this guy needs to just go away. So. Hold on. Hold on.
Y número dos, los que dicen eso son los que tienen la óptica más miope.
She's wearing one of these nasty shirts. As though, okay, so she's saying that President Trump is trying to politicize these things. And she's saying that the optics, this and that about the optics, has been politically calculated to make her look bad. And then she comes out wearing this. Are you kidding me? This is just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. This right here shows you how corrupt and how leftist this woman is, to come out wearing this, the same thing that they were wearing at these women marches where they were wearing the pink hats, and they had a murderers was one of the promoters up there glorifying her. Linda Sarsour, they were glorifying her, who's a jihadist. Tamika Mallory, who's a racist, who I had a run-in with on the radio before. And this lady is wearing a nasty shirt. That's the same place where Madonna said she wanted to blow up the White House, and Ashley Judd got up there saying all kinds of nonsense. And this woman's going to wear one of these shirts identifying with those people. I don't even know what they mean by this. What is this? How is this productive at all? Yes, Ashley Judd said that. How is this productive at all? What does this have to do with pushing supplies forward? What does this have to do with getting the corrupt unions to get truck drivers in there, or to get out of the way and allow other truck drivers to come in there? What does this have to do with saving people's lives? Nothing. It has nothing to do with it. She just proved her point. That she's a communist. I don't know if that's the point she was trying to prove, but that's the point she proved. And the fact she's on with this other knucklehead, this guy, who's another one, who seems to think that anybody should be able to come into this country and just come here, whatever. There should be no rules. This is just ridiculous, folks. I've seen a lot of political crap that you see in Washington, D.C., but I have never seen anything this stupid. This is worse than one of the Spanish TV soap operas where they got they always have a good-looking woman every 30 seconds, so you'll watch, and then everybody's crying, and it's dramatic. That's what this is. Weird. Our world has turned into a dramatic Spanish soap opera. That's what this is like. I didn't want to talk about it anymore, but this is weird, man. Let's get her off that TV. Okay. So you're not going to see any fixes out of them, and you can't blame when you're seeing this kind of nonsense, you can't blame the president for this. Okay? You're not going to blame the president for that. This is just corrupt management. Leftist down there running things. I could have told you it was going to be a complete chaos in Puerto Rico. I lived down there for a while, and everything is chaos in Puerto Rico. Everything down there when it comes to the government. So let's do this. I've got to get out of here in just a second. Let me see who this was writing me, because I have to do an interview with a radio show, and so here's my dog. Call him over here. He's having a good day today. So, but I want to talk real quick about leadership, okay? When I left the FBI, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and go to the C block, and then I'm going to cover this real quick, and then we'll get out of here. All right, let's go to the Truth Zone. No, to the C block. What am I saying? How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it. So I don't even have the opportunity to look at all these different chats that are going on right now. But, okay, so all the people that regularly tune into the show, our numbers are down tonight. That's okay. We've had a good week so far. But I want to talk to you a little bit about leadership, about failed leadership, and about the reality of people that you see on TV. I've talked about this before. There are two people that have appeared on TV doing exactly what I do, talking about national security and law enforcement issues. And I would say, by and large, they're qualified to talk about it. I'm not going to take away from their qualifications. Jim Gagliano's on CNN. Jeff Ringel is on has been on different stations, but he's on Fox News today. This is Jeff right here. I'm gonna pull up his picture. And by no way or shape am I promoting Jeff Ringel. So this is what this is about, right? This guy right here. Let me just pull this up so you can see him, right? Jeff Ringel is perhaps the worst leader. He's not a leader, or supervisor I had in the FBI, and perhaps one of the worst I've ever had in any career I've ever been in. This guy, I'm going to leave his picture up here so you can hear this story. This guy right here, the first time I met him, I got assigned to his squad. I'd been gone for a while. I went and did surveillance. I came back and was going to take over I thought I was going to take over the special events again as a special events coordinator. I did that. That's when Catherine Harris did a story on me in 2010. I then, after telling a supervisor what I thought about them, I got transferred to the surveillance and an assistant special agent in charge. I let her know reality as well. That got me transferred to a surveillance squad for a year, where I was doing 14-hour days. So listen, you as Dave Chappelle says, you keep it real, you're going to pay the price. I paid the price. I came back under this guy's supervisory leadership, and the first time I met him, he said, "Sit down and tell me about yourself." So I tell him all about. I'd never been asked that question in the Bureau before, because most people know each other. I said, what do you want to know? He said, tell me everything. So I tell him about my career and, when I was in the military and in the SEAL teams. And I knew he was a Naval Academy graduate and a former Marine Cobra pilot. And I thought this is going to be great. Finally I'm going to get somebody who's tactical that's in there. This is another lesson. Just because somebody is a veteran doesn't mean that they're going to make good decisions or good leaders. Just because they went to the academy definitely doesn't mean they're going to be a great leader. So Jeff Ringel, who you see here, so I tell him all this stuff, and he just sitting there looking at me. He said, "Well, you're not going to use any of this stuff while you're here in this squad." And I was like, "Oh, this is not good." This is the first time I met the guy. He says, "I want you to take the next couple of weeks and clean the office." That's what he had me do. So I'd never met the guy before. From the very beginning, this guy right here just decided to crush me. I don't know why. I'm trying to see this guy right here, Jeffrey Ringel. I don't know why he wanted to crush me. I don't know what it was all about. I don't know why he didn't like me. But from the very beginning, he didn't like me. And he starts, so I'm cleaning the office, right? I clean the office. So for the rest of the time I was there, I didn't have I wasn't being moved back into special events. I basically was just used by this guy for a year. The only other real interaction I had with him was within that first period of a couple of months, right? And before I actually started doing some stuff on the rapid deployment team. I did some stuff with the special events. We helped out a lot with mass arrest and things like that. We really a useless squad, and but there's other groups that were under that squad. I don't know why they were there, but they were. I can't go into all that stuff. But anyway, I'm cleaning out this office like this guy had me do, and I find a card that his kids had made for him, like a little, something you put on your refrigerator. And I'm like, oh, I'll take that into him. That's kind of cool. So, I go through the rest of the stuff. I'm cleaning up because this office was used as storage for all these specialty teams. So I take this card in there, and I said, hey, listen, I found this card here. And he like looks at me really weird. And I said, yeah, it was over here where I was cleaning out this stuff. And I said, but, also, and I was asking him a question about something. And as I'm talking to him about this, he's looking at me, and he gets up, he walks around the desk. I'm like, I don't know what this guy's doing. He puts on his jacket, probably the same one he has on there, and he just walks out of the office. That was it. Right as I'm talking, trying to explain to him what I'm doing to make sure it's done right, and he just walks out of the office, doesn't say anything. So, listen, I'm ragging on this guy today. Not that it really affects me anymore, but I have the ability to do it, and this is the way I look at it. When you have a boss that is so demeaning, so nasty, hurtful in many ways, somebody who doesn't care about your career when you've done all these things and you're a veteran, and he literally, pardon my French, but shits all over your career. He doesn't care. This guy, what he represented was so bad that I didn't even last a year in that squad, and I got out of the FBI. This is one of the reasons when I saw, if you're a bad leader, this is what you can do. If you take other leaders, if you're a bad manager, you will crush the spirit of leaders. I am a leader. Right? I understand who I am. I've cultivated who I am. I'm not somebody who walks in and tries to shove my ego on people. I'm the go-to guy. I'm the guy that says, this needs to be done. Give me the ball. I'm going to run the touchdown. I'll make sure it happens. I don't have to be the actual guy who makes a touchdown, but I'm going to facilitate that because I've gone through the steps of becoming a leader, failing, and making it. This, though, what was happening was sheer destruction of a leader for personal gain or personal, jollies. I wasn't the only one. Other people worked around him, but this is my story. And so what I want to tell you is that people like this, and if you're a manager, you should understand that you can literally crush a leader by treating them like this rather than getting to know them, cultivating them. He probably knows a lot of stuff that I didn't know. Never once did he offer to mentor that at that point. So, leader, I got to get his picture off here because it's causing me to be ill. So, I just want to say this before I go, that in this country, the last person, a veteran, should demand or try to crush is another veteran. It doesn't matter if you were in battle. The very fact that a human being puts themselves to the side and swears an oath to the country and to God and gives up everything to go through this training and then continues to stay in service throughout their life, knowing that they're not going to get rich in the government, knowing that their lives are going to be moved around and that things are not going to be steady like the rest of the people in this country, that you're going to be working to support and defend the Constitution. That is the last person a veteran should ever go after and attempt to crush. This guy was like a wrecking ball for people's careers. And so what I saw was that when I got the opportunity that I could do more on the outside of the FBI. And even then, I knew that the FBI was broken, but I thought it was just this guy and a couple other people. As I got out, the further away I got away from it, you see the Muellers, you see the deputy directors McCabe, you see these people and the reality of how this awfulness trickles down. And the people that excel and try to be, not excel, but climb the ladder to try to be supervisors, quite often, those people are like the Jeff Ringles or the Gaglianos that's over on CNN. Gagliano, a guy that writes an article talking about how which one's tougher, Rangers or SEALs. He spent like 2 weeks learning the Draeger, how to dive on a rebreather at where we go through SEAL training, and he thinks he knows about SEAL training, so he writes a whole article about who we are, not ever knowing who we are, not ever going through our training. These people, they make decisions based on their egos, not based on what's correct, not based on what's effective. It's based on what I want, and it's a type of leadership where if you go up to them and you say, listen, based on my expertise or training and experience, I think we should do it this way, they'll be like, no, we're going to do it this way. And it doesn't, you could have gone and said, hey, based on my training expertise and you know, I think we should do it this way. And they'd say, no, we're going to do it this way. That's the way these types of leaders are. They're failed leaders. So, he's never going to change. Gagliano's never going to change. But I tell you what we can do. And I'll tell you the lesson I learned from this. Don't suffer under the hands of people like that. If somebody is that brutal to you, if I'm looking at what somebody just wrote down here. So if somebody is that brutal to you, I don't care if you work in a sandwich shop, I don't care if you are an FBI agent, and I don't care if you got $5 or $100 or $10,000 in your pocket. You should get ready for a calculated move. Don't do it out of a whim. Don't do it because you're angry. There were plenty of times when I could have said, F this and I'm out of here. I'm the man. I'm not going to be treated this way. Well, I did that once, and that got me put on surveillance for a year, which I actually enjoyed. I think it was the closest I've ever been to being an old school FBI agent was when you were out on a surveillance team. So do yourself a favor. Make a calculated move. Get out of there because it will cause you health problems. It will cause you to degrade the person that you are. You will start to question yourself. You'll start to question your abilities. You'll start to question whether or not you're capable of doing something. And it could take years for you to get over that, or you may never. I know people who've been crushed by bosses and never got over it. So do yourself a favor. If you serve under a Jeff Ringle or a Gagliano, somebody who's so egotistical that they can't see past the glasses at the end of their nose like a Chuck Schumer, do yourself a favor. Get out of it. It's not a hit on you. You're not a quitter. But don't let yourself be degraded to the point where you have health issues or you start to have mental issues. Don't deal with it. Get out of it. And you can excel other places. You can be the best that you can be. And listen, part of this is lessons that God's going to teach you. He puts you in these places to humble you and also to see how you're going to handle it. And if you go through it again, maybe you didn't learn something enough from the first time. Now you're going to be tested again. And often with work, when you work under people like this, the best thing that you can do is just get out of it. Same thing with relationships. You just need, sometimes you just got to get out of it. And that's what I did, and here we are, and how about that? So let's go to the truth zone, and I promise not to bring up that weirdo anymore. In fact, I'm going to delete that picture here. Let's see here. Remove. I can't even look at it. It's scary. Brings back harsh memories. I'm not going to lie. It brings back memories that are not pleasant. And when you're at the pinnacle of law enforcement and somebody, or it doesn't matter if it's me, you know, I know other people who've suffered in business, in banking. I know women that have suffered because of men, and they were truly on this kick and sexist. And I know women who've suffered like that. And you know what they did after talking to me? They got out of there and they went and got a better job, a higher paying job, and they got away. They didn't take it like, say, the guy is sexually, being a misogynist and he's crushing me and, oh, I'm a victim. No. I coached these women, and you know what they did? They got out of that and they went and excelled. It was like, you see these mud runs, right? And they put these obstacles in there. And some of them you can climb over, and some of them you got to go around, some of them you got to go under. This was an obstacle for these women. And they didn't lay there and cry. They climbed over those obstacles. They got around them. They didn't allow it to become a health issue for them. And they went and found something better. And it's a scary thing to say, I'm out of here. It is scary. But I'm here to tell you, folks, there is light on the other side of the tunnel. You come up against a boss like that, you just climb over that hurdle and you just can continue to succeed. And you may think leaving this pristine premier agency is going to kill my life. Well, I'm living proof that that's not the case, okay? So if you are in this situation and you have a toxic boss and you are at the breaking point, or let's say you just got there and you've been there a couple months and you're like, is this not going to stop? It's probably not going to. You need to start making the moves to make a tactical departure to get out of there, to break contact, and do whatever you got to do to get away from that person or get out of that agency or go reinvent your career or do the things that you've always wanted to do. You only have one life to live, only one, and you don't know when you're going to die. It could be tomorrow. It could be tonight. Or it could be in 40 years. Make the most of every single bit of that life. And don't waste it on people like this. If I could change one thing in my life, I would not have wasted the time I did on that guy or Gagliano or any of the other weirdos that I've experienced in my life. And I would have, as fast as possible, done the same thing I would do if I'm walking down the sidewalk in New York City and some wackadoo mental person comes up to me and is screaming something. I'm just going to go that way. And I'm going to continue down the path of greatness. You need to do the same thing in your life, in your career. Don't let their toxic behavior get in you and affect you. Don't do it. And I am honored to have suffered and be able to bring that message to you all. It's an important message. I can guarantee you right now, there are, I think there's like 200 people watching this show right now. And I know by the end of this, there's going to be thousands. I don't know how this all works. But I can guarantee you a ton of people watching this show have suffered under toxic bosses or are suffering. Take my advice. Start maneuvering yourself to get out of it and start living again. Because it's like living in a New York City apartment with the shades down after a couple of months. You're stir crazy. Lift up those shades. Get out. Listen, I'm speaking from experience here. Do what you got to do to get out of it. And you know what happens? The universe, my lovely Lord that I love so much, the God who created me and shed his blood for me, and I will get to be with all my dogs in heaven and my family someday. God gives you, he gives you an opportunity to look on and I don't know if everybody's going to get this opportunity, but to do something like this where you're either moving on and succeeding greatly or you're succeeding greatly and you get the opportunity to put it back in their face. It's a good feeling, I'm not going to lie. So spread the word, folks. Jeffrey Ringel is a freaking jerk. Ugh. And if you turn on CNN, you see Gagliano. He's pretty close to the same. But at least Gagliano was a good operator. That guy's a freaking, I don't know about Ringel. Anyway, all right. Let's go to the Truth Zone and close this puppy down. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep no more. Get it. All right. So here's the deal. We got a lot going on in the news. Again, it's kind of a lot of the same, but that's the way this news cycle is. Doing this show every day for almost 2 years, folks, is it's difficult, to say the least, because I feel like a broken record. And I want you all to tell me, don't be afraid to reach out to me and tell me you're being a broken record. I need to know what you all want to talk about at times. I'm not like these guys. I feel as though I'm here for a reason, and because the people in this country are dying for experienced analysis. They're dying to have people who can speak to them and aren't perpetrating a fraud or up here to be popular. I wear a white t-shirt on here every night, for goodness sakes. I'm not trying to be a GQ model. I'm not trying to show you guys how great I am. I'm here for you, and it's the only thing that's brought me back here night after night. I haven't gotten rich off this show. I don't have any advertising. Your donations have what helped this show stay on as long as it has. The point I'm trying to make here is that what's going on in the world in this 24-hour news cycle and the dialogue that has started from this show between people, where people have gotten to know each other and groups have started, dialogue has started, unity has grown. When you see this, folks, and you see the reality of the seeds that are being planted, maybe it's one or two at a time, but I can guarantee you turn on the nightly news, you turn on CNN, you turn on Fox, you turn on these other network news agencies, you're not getting seeds planted. You're not getting knowledge. People don't turn off the TV and say, wow, now I see the reality of what happened. And when you see the next shooting or you see the next politician wearing something like that nasty shirt, you're going to say, I get it. I can identify their mindset. You're not going to get that from the news on television. And that's why this is here. That's why I went through the things that I did. That's why you've went through the things that you've gone through, and that's why we're here. So I got to thank the Lord for putting me through those situations and allowing me to be around these toxic people and make it through to the other side. And I'm here for you. We should be here for each other. The Constitutional Quick Reaction Force. I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. It's one team, one fight. And it truly is. Those people are not on your team. These politicians are not on your team. Those toxic leaders are not on your team. Those are people that are for themselves, by themselves. But we are the people. And we are for us. For the people, by the people. Not the me. The we. Remember that, folks. Remember that. You don't have to go in the military to serve. Serve each other. Come together. Talk. Unify. And then in cases like happened in Vegas, work together to save each other. I'm Jonathan Gillum. My old buddy Rico's over there asleep. He's having a good day today. Remember, when you see this face, when you see this show, the truth has arrived. This is The Experts. I'm Jonathan Gillum. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.